I should have allowed the man to spike her drink. I was at a cafe with my friend, and we were enjoying a full English breakfast. It's a good cafe, and I've been eating there for many years now. I was catching up with my friend, but I couldn't help but notice that there was an awkward tension coming from the table in front of us. I assumed the man and the woman sitting there were on a date which was going wrong, or perhaps a long-term couple with issues. The cafe is in the city center, so it's always pretty busy, but the service is always top-notch. However, the whole time I was there, I couldn't help but get a weird vibe from that table in front of us. There was something about the couple. I don't know, you know how you can sense that something is off with someone? Like their mental state's been rattled and their emotional state's a little wobbly? Well, that's what I got from these two. The woman eventually got up to go to the bathroom, and it was just the guy now. He definitely had a worried look on his face. We're talking very stressed. I could tell that he didn't like how busy the cafe was getting. But then I saw him put something in the woman's drink. I couldn't believe I saw that happening right in front of me. Then I saw him do it again. I elbowed my friend, and I pointed out what I just saw. My friend started watching the guy, and he did it again. He put something in the woman's drink. Nobody else saw it. And then, when the woman came back and was about to drink her drink, I stopped her. I told her what I had just saw, and my friend backed me up, and she threw the drink at the guy. The whole cafe went quiet, and they were all staring at that guy. He had a scared look on his face, and he muttered, "You don't understand. This isn't what it looks like." Another customer in the cafe shouted out, "Then what does it look like then, huh?" The man was at a loss for words, and he was clearly embarrassed. He tried to talk, but he was reduced to just muttering now, and then he walked out. We talked with the woman for a while, and she told us she was staying at a hotel nearby. When we finally left the cafe, we wished her the best. Later that evening, we heard a breaking news story based from that very hotel. Guests and staff had been killed by some creature. The police managed to take the creature out, but when they did, the creature transformed into a human, and it was the woman from the cafe. So many people were killed in that hotel, and I feel responsible. We should have let the woman drink that drink the guy was messing with, because whatever was in her drink, that man was right, and we clearly didn't understand. Mommy, why can't we leave Ray? My children ask me all the time. Ray is physically abusive, and being the stepfather to my children, I have found that he is dangerous to be around. He's a steroid junkie who likes to build his body and has hit me and the kids so many times. Yes, he leaves bruises and marks. However, they can heal when Ray is in a good mood. When Ray is in a good mood, everything is fantastic. When Ray is not in a good mood, then everything is hell, and like a storm, he destroys everything. I know we should leave, but I just can't. I remember taking the kids and leaving Ray once after a particular nasty incident, but the bruises and the cuts weren't healing. In fact, they were becoming worse, even septic. It's only when Ray found us and was in a good mood that our cuts and bruises healed instantly right in front of our eyes. It felt good. I remember running away from Ray another time with no cuts and bruises, and I started to miss his good moods. When Ray is in a good mood, everything is amazing, and life goes exactly the way I want it. So everything starts again at box 1, and Ray is simply Ray. Some people pay Ray to hurt them when he's in a bad mood, and then to heal them when he's in a good mood. They too are addicted to Ray's good moods, and everybody wants Ray to be in a good mood all the time. I remember when Ray was in a bad mood and he had beaten up both my kids, and they were crying and begging me to take them away from Ray. Then Ray suddenly turned to a good mood and their bruises and cuts were healed. Then my kids loved Ray again. And this is a good life when Ray is in a good mood and nothing can go wrong. When Ray killed our dog in a rage, we still kept the body of the dog. So when Ray is in a good mood, the dog can come back to life, but only when Ray is in a good mood. And when the good mood stops, the dog will go back to being dead. I remember once when Ray hurt my children again, and their cuts and bruises weren't healing because Ray was in a bad mood for a long time. I thought they were going to die. But luckily, he got into a good mood and they healed. This year, I've only been experiencing Ray in his good moods and never the bad. Only my kids have been experiencing his bad sides. Then my eldest child said to me, "Mommy, you're just like the dead dog. You only open your eyes when Ray is in a good mood." You should think of your family before you try to commit suicide. I was about to leave my shift for the night, and I was given a patient within the last minute. And of course, he had just tried to commit suicide. I knew nothing else about him. The first thing I said to him was to think about his family. I asked him what his mother would think if he wasn't around and how distraught she would be if he was dead. His mother would be so traumatized, especially since she was the person who gave birth to him. I told him how his mother would miss him and how all mothers cherish their children, and to put a mother through all of that would be devastating for her. Then I said things about how maybe his father would feel if he had committed suicide. His father would be broken, as fathers love their children too. I told him how his suicide would put tears to his father's eyes and how he would not be able to see his bloodline move forward. His father would tremble because he would not have any grandchildren, and it would be such a lonely existence for the father. For both parents, it would be such a loss, and that all that work and time invested in him as a son would be a waste if he had committed suicide. I kept telling my patient also to think about how his friends would feel, and even his coworkers. Then I went a little bit further and told him to think about his siblings and to understand how they would feel if he had committed suicide. Growing up together and then suddenly for everything just to go down and be buried in the soil, it would be soul-crushing for them. I got a little bit louder, and I told him whether he would think his siblings would feel great after his suicide. I hope I made my patient realize the amount of people it would affect if he was to be successful. I kept urging him to think before he ever attempted this again. Then I told him to think about how his grandparents would feel if he had succeeded. This would surely crush his grandparents. My patient had such a large family, and his suicide would affect a lot of people, including his cousins and uncles. I tried to make the patient realize the amount of damage his suicide would have on so many people. And then after giving that speech to my last-minute patient, I opened the file and I was shocked at what I read. His whole family, including his mother, father, siblings, grandparents, and all the cousins, had imprisoned and tortured him and were preparing him for a satanical sacrifice. He had tried to commit suicide to escape being offered up to Satan. His neighbors had phoned the police after hearing strange noises coming from his house. I then said to him, "Actually, ignore what I said and don't think about your family." It was too late. He had grabbed one of my pens and stabbed himself in the neck. Hey y'all, if you liked this video, then please consider liking and subscribing because that would help my little channel out a lot. Anyway, I will see you at the next read. Bye!